Hi everybody and big welcome to a cEDH card review or a set review. Well, we're gonna look at all the new Battle Siege cards from March of the Machine. I wanted to wait with this video until like all the battle cards would have been spoiled, but now they're all here, so here we go. So the first one out, we're not looking at them in a particular order, but first one is Invasion of Innistrada. So the way to look at these two cards is that how good is the initial card you cost, because you get a form of value for the first mana cost you actually pay. And the second thing to look at is the flip version and good. Is that something we want? Because sometimes we want the flipped version, but we don't want the front version. But then we also need to look at how easy it is to actually get the flipped version. Because you could really look at the flipped version like a cheaper mana cost with a condition that you need to achieve in order to get that flip version, so to say. So first thing out here, we have Flash. When Invasion of Innistrada enters the battlefield, target creature on opponent controls get -13/-13. That is really bad for 4 mana. And the flip version is also pretty bad, so expensive spot removal. The second card, Invasion of Tarkir, which is basically a 2 mana cost, deal 2 damage, but then you can reveal dragons to deal more damage. So you don't need to reveal anything, you can just do 2 damage in Sorcerer Speed. That's also a spot removal that is very expensive in Sorcerer Speed. If you hit this for 5, you get a Dragon. But honestly, the cEDH format is a little bit too fast for this, so no, it's not that good. This one, however, is actually kinda interesting. Invasion of Chandalar, 5 mana. When this comes into play, return up to 3 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. So that's a lot of rebuilding value. Like, it's a good card for a mono green deck that is looking for something really powerful that is gonna do something good. You can perform some kind of cool loops with this if you have Eternal Witness, Dockside, and a creature with a sacrifice ability. Then you can basically create a infinite mana loop, potentially. The other part of this card is actually kinda cool too. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Now we just have to mention one really important thing. In Commander, you have access to key creatures. For example, this Crom with a power 4, which is the exact count that Siege has in defense. So you can easily, well, Crom also has flying, so you just give this to someone that doesn't have a flying blocker. Next turn you cast Crom and boom, you have the Leyline Surge. Now you're paying a lot of mana into this. Like first 5, then 5 more for Crom, and then like you can actually make it flip instantly. First you cast Crom, then you cast Invasion of Chandalar, then you attack with Crom on the same turn. You cast Invasion of Chandalar, by the way, and you smack it and you get the Leyline, and then on your next turn you can trick cards into play from your hand that can't be counterspelled, by the way. So I kind of like it. It's a little bit expensive. It's a big value card, but you shouldn't discard at the fact that you're returning 3 cards from your graveyard to your hand. Invasion of Segovia. I've actually seen a lore review from another channel this, and I gotta say that was a very good video. Really interesting planes, this one. I actually, after watching that video, I kind of want to see more from Segovia. Now when this thing enters, you get 2 1/1 blue Kraken creature tokens with trample. They are 1/1s, but that's correctly. They should be tiny. Non-creature spells you cast have Convoke on the flipped version. And at the beginning of your end step, untap up to 4 target creatures. So the flipped side of this card is actually kinda good. And once again, it has a 4... it's not loyalty, it's HP. 4 hit counters. So Crom can easily kill this thing. Or make it flip very efficiently. So first cast Crom, or then cast Segovia next turn. And then boom, you have your Creature Sea Tyrant of Segovia. And non-creature spells with Convoke is actually quite good. It's not over the top, it's not busted, it's not gonna like create a deck on its own. And I honestly don't know exactly what card it's gonna replace. But it's a card I could see someone play in a Crom deck or in a very efficient attacking commander deck. Preferably something with an attack power of 4 to instantly kill this Siege. Invasion of Karsus. This is doing 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker for 4 mana, so that's a board wipe. It's a bit of an expensive board wipe. Normally when you deal 3 damage, you're paying only 3 mana for it, like Burn of the Gods something. Volcanic Fallout is 2 damage for 3 mana, can't be countered. If you deal 4 damage to this, you get a creature that says, whenever you cast a spell, it will deal 2 damage to each opponent. It's not terrible, honestly. Like 4 mana board wipe it's expensive, but board wipes these days can be a bit expensive sometimes. It's fine. It's a playable card for strange situations. Like if you're looking for a board wipe and you have a deck that is able to produce some form of high efficient mana, and you're looking for more value after your board wipe in like a secondary, like let's say let's say you want to improve your plan C beatdown capacity, then Refraction Elemental is there to help you out afterwards. So yeah, I could see this one seeing play, but it's not generally great. This is probably the best invasion card there is, the Battle Siege. And the reason is that this is a new version of Final Devastation. It's the same mana cost, green X. When Invasion of Ikoria enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a non-human creature card with mana value X or less and put it on the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. So you can search your graveyard, similar to Final Devastation. You can't find humans, but Dockside is not a human. You can't find Kinnan. You can find most key cards that you need for various tricks. Like, the fact that it doesn't find a human isn't that big of a deal. Now, it doesn't do the X10 overrun like Final Devastation, which actually happens sometimes. Like, we play Final Devastation as a 4 mana cost Dockside Extortionist, but sometimes games go strange and you overload it. You go 12 mana into Final Devastation and you basically win by just swinging with your beat current creatures. Invasion of Ikoria can't do that. However, there's a huge upside in Invasion of Ikoria. It is not a sorcery nor an instant, so Flusterstorm, Miscast, these counterspells that only targets instant and sorceries doesn't work here. And that's great. So I could see a world where people are just replacing Final Devastation for Invasion of Ikoria for that reason only. Or they just add both to their deck, having a secondary version of Final Devastation, same but different. And then if you flip this, you get an 8/8. Which is also like cute and good. Like it's gonna help you out in a long run if you're like going for beats, so to say. So similar to how Final Devastation could create that overrun, this one could too, but not in the same way. Invasion of Gobkhan. When this comes into play, you get to look at someone's hand. You may exile a card from that player's hand, and that card costs 2 more to cast as long as it's remaining exiled. It's a little bit weak because you rather interact with something that is on the board. It's not bad, but I don't like it. And then you get a enchantment that basically buffs your creatures, so to say. But in the end, not so sold on this one. I could see someone play this in a very strange mono white deck, but I still think mono white has better cards than this. Invasion of Arcavius. I really like the art on that place. When Invasion of Arcavius enters the battlefield, search your library, graveyard and outside the game for an instant or sorcery card you own, reveal it, put it into your hand. If you search library this way, shuffle. For 5 mana, that is really expensive. I mean, if you're looking for more versions to solve the equation, like if you're playing mono blue and you desperately need to tutor and have more tutors in your deck, then sure, it's 2 more mana, then solve the equation. And then if you for some reason are able to flip this, you get this really powerful enchantment that whenever you cast an instant source spell from your hand, you may copy that spell and choose new targets for the copy. I could see someone play this if they're like mono blue desperate for more solved equations, but other than that it's too expensive. Invasion of Fiora, like that name. I like the art too. I don't actually know anything about this place. It's really cool to see these cards because it really showcases how many planes and places Magic the Gathering has, and it kind of makes you want to learn more about it, kinda. I'm not that knowledgeable about the Magic the Gathering lore as I wanted to. So this is a 6 mana board wipe. You can destroy all legendary creatures or all non-legendary creatures. And like 6 mana to do that is quite expensive. Now you can be picky, you can destroy, like say you're playing a legendary tribal deck, and yeah, then you can board wipe. But I think Ursia's Ruinous Blast is better. And then you get a free 6 that is very good at like achieving the invasion, killing, siege cards that draws cards. Not good, too expensive. Invasion of Kaldheim. When Invasion of Kaldheim enters the battlefield, exile all cards from your hand, then draw that many cards until the end of your next turn. You may play cards exiled this way. that is really good. It is very similar to like a windfall, except you're the only one benefiting from the windfall effect here. But another really key component here is that you get to keep is not the correct word here, but you get to keep your cards in your hand that you're windfalling away. So let's say you have Adnost, or you have accumulated a lot of cards into your hand. You cast Invasion of Kaldheim, and then you exile everything, and then you draw a whole new hand, which means that you have, for this storm turn, basically doubled your hand size. And you may like sit and cast the cards you had before you did this, like your rituals and some of your tutors. So it's really cool how you can like keep key cards in your hand and then wheel everything. By the way, if you actually have a Lion's Eye Diamond in your hand, first play Lion's Eye Diamond, cast this Invasion of Kaldheim in response to the... No wait, that doesn't work, sorry, because you're going to discard your hand, and then if that thing resolves... Now, actually, Lion's Eye Diamond is actually better with Windfall in this situation, and really bad with Invasion of Kaldheim, but that's a specific situation. And then you get the Peer of the World 3. Discard a land card. Peer of the World 3 deals 2 damage to any target. Whenever you discard a land card, exile the top card of your library, you may play that card this turn. Wait, that's actually kinda good. That is actually really good. So we're going back to Crom here once again, but because like, once again, it has 4 defense and Crom has 4 power. So you have Crom in play, you accumulate a bunch of cards into your hand some way. There's a lot of different ways you can have a lot of cards in your hand, but only if you have like 6 cards. Let's say you have 7 cards with this in your hand. You cast this and you get that enchant, that is, it's siege battle card in play on someone, and you draw 6 new cards and you have your 6 cards you already had in exile. And then you attack with Crom into this battle siege thing. You instantly flip it to the Peer of the World 3, and then you can sit and discard land cards to draw more cards. Or not draw more cards, but you may exile the top card of your library and you may play those cards this turn. So even if you draw into a bunch of lands with Invasion of Kaldheim, you can filter those into something different. So yeah, I really like this. I actually think this is going to see some play here and there. I first think it's going to see some experimentation, see how people could utilize it, and then see how people can potentially make it even more busted. I gotta say, I really like it. Like, even if you don't play this Storm deck that I'm envisionizing here, it's still pretty good. Like, it's still giving you a personal, private windfall that only looking at your hand, by the way. It doesn't like get to it. Like, you can't go Hellbent, Windfall, and refill from another person's really big hand. So you have to utilize your own hand here, but you gain something of an interaction card that is killing creatures by discarding lands, but also gaining value at the same time. It feels like it has everything a lot of decks would like here. So I think this could actually show up in a lot of different decks out there. I really like it. Invasion of Ixalan. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, reveal a permanent card from among them into your hand, and the rest in the bottom of your library in random order. If you hit this for 4, you get a 4 free. Basically a green impulse variant. Not bad, not good, just you can play this. It's not, yeah, it's playable. Invasion of Belenon. Create a 2/2 white-blue knight creature token with vigilance and enchantment creature you control get +1/+1. Not that good. Invasion of Kamigawa. You tap something for 4 mana, that's not good. And then you get a 2 free with flying that can draw a card. Yeah, too slow and not effective. It's not that good. Invasion of Eldraine. 4 mana, target opponent discards 2 cards. Well, we are on the uncommon section, so these cards aren't gonna be that good, but yeah, this is not good. You get a fairy that deals damage to opponents if they have 2 or fewer cards in their hand, so not that good. Invasion of Mercadia, and I gotta say, this is gonna touch my heart a little bit extra, because this is actually the set and plane where I started playing Magic. This is where I began, so I want this to be good. And it is! When Invasion of Mercadia enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw 2 cards. We sometimes play Tormented Voice. It's not that good, but it's not terrible either. It's like playable. It's not good, it's not great, it's not bad, it's not terrible. It's like in the between, it works. Then you get a Spell Shaper, which is on point of what Mercadia had a lot of. Discard a card, create 2 1/1 blue red elemental creature tokens. Creatures you control get +1 attack and gain haste until end of turn. Not that good. But if you're In a long game, eventually it becomes something, but you're playing this if you want to have more Tormented Voices in your deck basically. Or honestly, this is better than Tormented Voice, so if your commander deck already have a Tormented Voice in it, replace it with this. Invasion of Muraganda. This is really expensive, 5 mana to put a +1% counter on target creature you control, then that creature fights up to one target creature you don't control. What? It becomes a 4/4. At the beginning of combat on your turn, another target creature gets +2/+2 and lose all abilities until... This is just too expensive. Don't play this. 3 mana, gain 4 life, draw a card, it flips into a 4/4 flying vigilance. Invasion of Dominaria should have been stronger. I mean, it is Dominaria after all. Well, it's Angels, and that's kind of on point with Dominaria, but nah. 4 mana, draw 3 cards, discard a card. It flips into sacrifice this thing, copy target spell you control. Yeah, a bit expensive. 4 mana is quite a bunch. There are better card draw effects in this game already. Invasion of Ulgrotta. I've never heard of this plane. It looks really interesting. It looks like vampires. I guess those are Phyrexian vampires, I guess. It's also not Innistrada. I'm kind of confused right now where this is. I guess there's another version of Innistrada plane out there that I've never heard of. In any case, it's 5 mana to deal 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life. That is very bad. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, put a +1 counter on this Grandmother Revi Sengyar and you gain a life. Not that good. For 3 mana, you can do 4 damage to another target battle or opponent and deal 1 damage to up to 1 target creature. Too expensive to do nothing that cEDH wanna do. You don't want to lightning bolt your opponents in cEDH. You wanna lightning bolt their creatures or sometimes their planeswalkers. Sometimes you wanna lightning bolt their faces when they've Adnast or Necroed a little bit too much, but those situations are very rare and this is sorcerer speed, not instant speed, so it can't do that, so it's very, very bad. Invasion of Zendikar is a 4 mana search library for 2 basic land cards, put them into battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Like cEDH is not really trying to play the ramp cards. We're not playing Kodama's Reach to begin with, so I don't think we're gonna play this one either. And it becomes a very big haste vigilance mana dork. So there's a lot of potential mana acceleration here, but still not that good. Invasion of New Phyrexia. Create X 2/2 white and blue night creature tokens with vigilance. Not good. We don't really want to produce tokens in cEDH. We're not playing like the overrun creature strategy. That's just too slow, so no. But it flips into Teferi, Echoes of Salver. +1, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card. You get an emblem with knights you control get +1 attack and have ward 1. -3, tap X creatures you control. When you do, shuffle target non-land permanent into opponent's... That's kinda cool. So, shuffle target non-land permanent an opponent controls with mana value X or less into its owner's library. Still though, you need to hit this for 6 to get that Teferi, and that Teferi is not that amazing, like it's drawing cards and discarding creature cards, but we have much better efficient ways to discard the creature cards to the graveyard and drawing cards. So not that good. Invasion of Alara, and I'm really happy it's 5 colors. Now this one does like everything, which is very typical for 5 color cards. When Invasion of Alara enters the battlefield, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile 2 non-land cards with mana value 4 or less. You may cast one of those 2 cards without paying its mana cost, put one of them into your hand, then put the other cards exiled this way onto the bottom of your library in random order. And that's kinda... It's not good, it's not bad, it's a little bit too expensive, honestly, for that effect. Like, you're cascading into something, and you get to it's improved cascading, basically. I like it, but I rather just cast a Demonic Tutor. When it flips, it becomes a sorcery. Target player draw 2 cards. You may put an artifact card from your hand onto the battlefield. Create a token that's a copy of a permanent you control. Distribute 3/3/3 counters among 2 or 3 creatures to destroy target permanent an opponent controls. You need to pay 5 mana, 1 of each color. Smack this thing for 7, which is actually quite a lot. And then you get that very weird effect. It's a lot of value, honestly, if you're able to do all of that, but I think you can gain more value in cheaper mana cost without like smacking this battle for damage. So I don't think it's good, and I don't think you should play it. Invasion of Tulvada. I also have no idea where this plane is. When Invasion of Tulvada enters the battlefield, return target non-battle permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's a reanimation effect for 5 mana, and that is too expensive. We usually pay 1 or 2 mana to reanimate a creature these days. Invasion of Xerxes. 4 mana to return a creature up to its owner's hand, and it flips into a creature that has power and toughness are equal to number of creatures you control. Not good, too expensive. Invasion of Amonkhet enters the battlefield. Each player mills 3 cards, then each opponent discard a card and you draw a card. I kinda like this I kinda like and dislike. I wanna remove the each player mills 3 cards. I like the part where everyone is discarding a card and you draw a card, that's like value. But milling an opponent is very risky in cEDH currently because a lot of people are playing Underworld Breach or some version of a graveyard reanimated strategy where they can utilize the graveyard somehow. So I don't recommend that. Don't mill your opponents. Also, forcing your opponents to discard a card for you to draw a card isn't that good for 3 mana, but it's kinda decent. However, the flipped version is kinda interesting. You may have this zombie enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard except it's a 4/4 black zombie in addition to its other types. This could be viewed like a reanimation effect. So you, once again, you crom this because it has the magical 4 battle HP. You cast this, everyone is milling a little bit, everyone is discarding something, and you smack this with your crom, and you get this zombie that enters as a copy of any creature in any graveyard. And that is good. You could view it like a very expensive, very bad animate dead that also cantrips and force your opponents to discard a card for 1 more blue mana. Just to the fact that you're reanimating something from your own graveyard. So I could see a world where people are playing this for the reanimation value effect. I kinda like it. It's like a little bit slower than Turbo. However, it's the exact same mana cost like Necromancy, you just need to punch it for 4. But you also get to draw a card, you force your opponent to discard cards, you mill your opponents, that's also bad, like I've said before. But honestly, I like it. I could see people play this just because those small factors. Like, you could have this together with Necromancy in the deck for more versions of Necromancy, or you swap this out for Necromancy if you want cantrip card draw on your ability as well. But once again, like, milling your opponents is not good. Invasion of Asgol. When this enters the battlefield, target player sacrifice a creature or a planeswalker and lose 1 life. So it's like an edict effect. I kinda like it. It flips into a 2/1 that gets +1/+1 counters if stuffs are put into a graveyard from the battlefield, so to say. Like, it's not bad. It's something you can play in cEDH, like we sometimes play. Weird spot removals, forcing someone to sacrifice a creature is not that bad. But it's also not good. Like, it's a very strange control card that you can play. It flips into a creature that punches people's face. It doesn't really do much more than punching people's face. It just is a 2/1 that grows a tiny bit now and then. But only 1 black, 1 red to make an opponent sacrifice their commander is not bad. But it's also not like great. It's decent. I like the word decent on this one. It's a card I could see someone play. It's not bad. It's like a Rakdos control card, so to say. This one I actually really like. So 1 red, 1 green for Invasion of Ergamon. And I gotta say, I really like that Rhino. When the Invasion of Ergamon enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Then you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So you gain a treasure and you get to loot, basically. You're going down in hand size, by the way, because of this, because you're casting this thing to gain a treasure and basically loot, so to say. Not good. But it flips into when Truga Cliff Charger enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, search your library for a land or battle card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. So this is like a very strange tutor for Gaia's Cradle, or any other cool land that you kinda are interested in. It's a little bit much to punch it, like it's a 5 HP battle, so you need more than Crom. You need to punch it a tiny bit. It kind of depends, but in general, when you're playing decks that are very focused around lands, you usually have the creature count to like smack this very efficiently. So in the end, I could see someone playing this if they have the correct deck for it. Invasion of Muag. Put the +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. It flips into a creature that at the beginning of your end step, put the +1/+1 counter on target creature you control with ward 2 free. This is bad, this is overrun, and only overrun. We play cards that have overrun if they have something more than just overrun, but this is only overrun, this is only putting counters on creatures. It's not this, like, it's too slow to do anything in cEDH really right now, so no. Invasion of New Capenna, and of course they have a Gatling gun on the flipped version here. When Invasion of New Capenna enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice an artifact or creature. When you do, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls. Not that good. It is a spot removal that is sure cheap in mana cost, but we have like Swords of Plowshares and Deadly Rollick and Snuff Out are like better than this. It flips into this artifact that has equip 1, that's good, that gives +1/+1 counters on creatures and basically tribal creatures, all creatures with the same type. But once again, that's like not that good. You want a little bit more out of your flip card than this. Or you want to do something very different. Like we're not really into putting counters on our creatures in general in cEDH, as I've mentioned before. Invasion of Kaladesh. So for blue-red, you get a 1/1 colorless top-tier artifact creature token with flying. And it flips into a creature with power equal to the amount of artifacts you control, or not a creature, a vehicle with crew 1 and 4 toughness. Really like the art, but it's not good. We don't really look for creatures with high power in cEDH in general. Invasion of Lorvin. This is the most expensive spot removal I've ever seen in my entire life. This is really bad. For 6 mana, you get to destroy target non-elf creature with power X or less, where it's the number of lands you control. So it's like a conditioner you need to achieve besides the expensive mana cost here. No, sorry, it's not a spot removal. It's like a very, very big board wipe. Destroy X. Wait, this is worded a little bit strange. When Invasion of Lorwyn enters the battlefield, destroy */* target non-elf creature an opponent controls with power. I'm certainly a little bit uncertain what this thing actually does. If you actually know, leave a comment in the description below the video, regardless of if it's destroying more than one target. Let's say it's destroying X and X is equal to the amount of lands you control. So if you have 4 lands, you get to destroy 4 things. That's still not that good. Like you can just play a board wipe in that case. Or Fire Covenant. Just play that thing instead. And it flips into a creature with power and toughness equal to the number of lands you control. This is not good, regardless of whatever it's doing. Invasion of Kilem. So it's giving 2 creatures +2 attack, vigilance, and haste. And it flips into a sorcery, create 2 3/2 red and white warrior creature tokens. Whenever this creature and at least one other creature token attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. That is not what cEDH is looking for. It's not doing what any cEDH should in general be doing in the current metagame of sorts. So no, it is not that good. It is also quite expensive. Invasion of, here we go, Pyrulia. I hope I pronounced that one correctly. When Invasion of Pyrulia enters the battlefield, scry 3, then reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land or a double-faced card, draw a card. You could view it like a expensive ponder that is demanding a lot of very focused deck building. Like you need lands in this deck to make this work. So in the end, it's like scry 3, maybe draw a card it's honestly not that good. You need a really high land count inside the deck to make sure this is gonna work out for you. And currently in cEDH we're playing something between 24 to 29 lands. So there's a huge chance this is just going to fizzle and not find that land or that double-faced card. So I don't think anyone is going to play this. 4/4. Other transformed permanents you control have trample and ward 2. I like it. It's cool. It's very cool. I like the concept. I'm kind of interested in this plane right now. I have a feeling it's a lot of transform or warped creature or creatures that are shape-shifting, so to say. And I gotta say, I'm having a hard time understanding what the art is trying to showcase as well. Really cool card, really cool art. I like the plane, I like the name, but I don't like what it's doing. Invasion of Ravnica. When Invasion of Ravnica enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls that isn't exactly 2 colors. It's gonna be able to remove most things. Most key things you need to kill are monocolored permanents. Most stacks cards are mono white or mono green. Some are Celestia, white and green. Most combo creatures are monocolored, like Timur Sabertooth is mono green, Hermit Druid is mono green. A lot of commanders you want to interact with are dual colors, like Tymna, Crom, Thrasius are dual colors. But in general, you don't really want to interact with opponent's commanders usually all the time. It's not that important. Other commanders are usually free colors, like Tivit is free colors. This is actually really bad at dealing with specifically Tivit, by the way, because of this is first 5 mana and then 3 for ward. But in general, it's going to have targets. That's not the problem. The problem is the 5 mana. That's a bit expensive. For a spot removal for 5 mana, I don't think this is good. It's actually rather terrible. That is just too much mana. But it flips in 2 after Crom punched it for 4. Whenever you cast a spell that's exactly 2 colors, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a card that's exactly 2 colors from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. This is a really bad value engine. It is really hard to create a deck on a lot of dual colored, multicolored cards. Once again, most cards we play are monocolored. So it's going to be hard to create triggers from this, and it's also going to be hard to create hits with this. So we're looking at a really expensive 5 mana cost spot removal interaction and a really tricky value engine afterwards. So everything with this card is honestly, in my opinion, kind of bad, sadly. And that does it. Those were all the Battle Siege cards from March of the Machine. As always, most of them aren't that good, but we expected that. But some were more or less upgrades to already existing cards, more or less a new, similar version, same but different. And some cards are like, yeah, this have some great potential actually. In general, I also really like the concept of the Battle Siege cards, like you're putting a thing into play that you need to attack to achieve more value. So you're able to use your attackers like mana in a sense. So you pay a very low amount of mana and then use your creatures to get more value from it. I like that. It gives more value to creatures, it gives more value to your commander. So I like the concept. I want these cards to be good because it's bringing that value of having blockers. Because you can interact with these Battle Siege cards by having blockers. And you can easier achieve the value from the Battle Siege card by having attackers, bringing the attack concept into this format a little bit more. Now I showcased Crom a bunch inside this video, I know, but he's just an example. I think Crom in general is actually a really good commander behind a lot of these Battle Siege cards because of that perfect hit of 4 and that haste. But there are absolutely a lot of other potential commanders out there that could be great with this as well. And depending on how you want to build your deck, like a lot of hate bears, you can utilize a lot of these Battle Sieges as well. In any case, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the card review and that you learned something new about the cEDH format. In any case, take care, guys. I'll see you in the next video.